So how would you ladies describe this highway?
This highway is rad.
This highway is beautiful. This highway is spectacular. Look at the view.
This highway is awesome.
I love the mountain driving.
Beautiful.
You think it's dangerous?
It can be. I think people have a lot of fear of it. It has a reputation as being dangerous and scary. There are accidents every now and then.
This road was never built to be a commuting highway.
If the Ortega is closed, we don't get any business.
Never meant to be a commuter highway, it just happened. The more the Inland Empire grew, the more people started going across.
We are currently ascending upon the Ortega Highway, which is where we started this adventure a year ago. Our son was coming into this world. He is now in this world. I didn't quite notice all the problems this highway had until I started doing our regular commute to my son's doctors. Going to my wife's doctor's appointments. Now I'm taking my son to his doctor's appointments. Going to the hospital. Driving. Waiting to drive to the hospital.
Yeah, you guys, what a frustrating 3 weeks this is going to be for thousands of commuters. This is their link every day from home to work. I want to show you right here. This is where the closure starts. We're standing at Gateway Place and the Ortega Highway. That's where this sinkhole was found. Now, this isn't the sinkhole that most people think of. This was basically a dip in the road. Well, the Caltrans workers told me they came out, sure enough, found a 3-inch dip, and that's what they're cutting into right now. And they did find a lot of unsettled soil. But the bottom line is, for commuters, this is bad news for a solid 3 weeks, unless you're one of the people and you can prove you live here west of Gibby Road. Listen to what this guy had to say.
I had to verify with them to make sure that I actually live there. It's 5 miles before the construction actually starts, which is lucky for me. So had it not been for that, then I wouldn't be able to go through at all.
Yeah, lucky guy right there, but every day now he's going to have to show his ID to the CHP officers that they're going to be parked here for about 3 weeks. And I'm told that that's because they're going to have to repair the pipe as well as the road. And the road, I'm told, is about 18 inches thick, so they have a lot of digging to do. Again, Caltrans shut down Ortega Highway here for about the next 3 weeks. We're live at the Ortega Highway. Now back to you guys.
Well, the initial sinkhole, fortunately, it didn't require a medical type response. It required just a Caltrans response because they're responsible for the road. Once we identified that there was no vehicles that had gone into the sinkhole, really it's up to Caltrans to cone off the area and restrict traffic until it could be repaired.
If the Ortega is closed, we don't get any business, and it's really hard as a smaller business to maintain a cash flow in general. We cannot compete with larger companies, so when we have no traffic going by our business, it's hard to make ends meet sometimes.
The country store has been in business since beginning in around 1960s. I've had it for 10 years. And it caters to the locals, hikers and campers on weekends, and the commuters. It started at the end of January, the sinkhole. So by the end of February, I was 10,000 short of what I normally take in per month. I didn't have any customers. I had to lay off all my employees and work it myself. I am kind of used to it. There's been accidents, problems with the road, there's been snow, there's been rock slides, and it is expected for business owners up there for the road to be closed for one reason or another. We just have to deal with it and try to get through it. If it was a permanent closure, then we'd probably think about permanently closing ourselves. But since we know it usually is resolved within a few days, in that one case it was almost 4 weeks, but I was still supported by the locals, and locals were allowed up the mountain. And by laying off the employees, which I only have a couple part-time ones anyways, I was able to make it through that.
So about 20 years I've lived here on the highway, but I've been commuting through it for probably 25 plus years when I was working before I retired. Well, when I first started, it wasn't that bad at all, because there was maybe 6,000 people a day would use it, and that number is quadrupled now.
Is what it is. It's a scenic highway. It's beautiful. It's meant to be enjoyed. It's not meant to be abused by thrill seekers.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It's the most direct route to the coast, but you know, people ought to just take the time, plan to go earlier or go around, and I hope it stays the way it is.
Last year in August, my husband was he tried to avoid a head-on collision with a motorcyclist because the motorcyclist was coming too fast into that curve and went over the double yellow. Right side of the motorcycle hit right side of the 2500 truck, Dodge truck. And if he didn't swerve, that motorcyclist would have gone straight through that windshield and killed both my husband and the passenger.
With the improvement to widen the lanes, and they built a bunch of embankments, scarfed away a lot of the side of the mountain to make, you know, the lanes a little bit bigger and a little bit easier to manipulate through that part of the highway. But all that did is just make people drive faster now. There's one corner, we call it Ricochet Alley, and if you go there, you'll see all the skid marks and car parts. It's a really, really tight turn, and people overcompensate because as they're drifting into oncoming traffic, and that area, particular area, stretches probably for 1,000 feet. That, I would say, 25% of the accidents on the highway happen right there. I named it Ricochet Alley because you bounce off the mountain, then you come back and you bounce off the embankment. And why there's not a very specific speed sign for that one corner posted, I don't know.
Oh, there's way too many commuters. So what happens is that all the houses are inexpensive and they're over here in Riverside, but everybody works over by the coast. And the businesses, they don't want to move over here on this side of the mountain. They stay over there, so everybody drives over the mountain every day. And I don't blame them, but they just want to get home and they drive too fast sometimes and reckless and cross the double yellow. And I'm pulling out of my driveway and there's someone coming right down on my lane, you know, because they're trying to get home.
With the prices of homes, it makes it outside of people's means to afford to live in the South County area, which pushes people to the Inland Empire, being Murrieta, Corona, Temecula, and that has created an increase of flow of traffic on the Ortega Highway. From my understanding, it was at one point in time 10,000 vehicles, now increased to 43,000 vehicles a day.
Development just doesn't stop, and there's going to be more houses. As soon as that new road gets built, it's going to be built because they're going to keep on building. So I think the solution is probably in public transportation, like some sort of railway, you know, where there's no more personal vehicles. Personal vehicle, I think, is in the near future going to be an outdated thing.
As far as changing it, or like, I don't think it should be changed, not for a great long time. They do need to make a better solution for the commuters going from Orange County to Inland Empire, but the Ortega Highway is probably not the solution.
Well, Ortega Highway, it's a very heavily traveled road. It's one lane of traffic in in two directions sometimes. We come across a lot of collisions there. It's a very windy road. It is a very dangerous road. However, until the road is widened, the road is what we have, and we can just respond to the calls that occur on that road.
It affects everybody because that's kind of like our own, not really our only way home, but our fastest way to get home. So, I mean, there's a lot of people on Ortega. I think a lot of Elsinore, Wildemar, Temecula, Marietta people, some Corona people too, because they don't want to pay toll roads, but yeah, it's just.
Were you worried about the fires?
Yeah, I mean, of course, because it affects everybody. A lot of homes were lost, and it can happen to anybody. But even when there's fires like on Ortega, that's not fun either.
How do you feel taking the Ortega usually when you take it?
I feel good. I mean, I'm so used to the drive. I've been doing it for like 10 years, so I'm okay. I don't mind it at all. It kind of relaxes me, actually.
How do you feel when you have to take the 76 or 91?
Just the thought about it was like, oh, I'm never going to make it home. A little stressful because, traffic for sure. But you got to do what you got to do.